PC.
Battlesloths.
Yeah, right bumper shoots, left bumper is going to use your hoverboard, and there's no dodge roll in this version of the game. Yeah. Yeah, we had a kill cam. I don't know. It was a game studio I worked at, in which we were allowed to keep the rights to our thing. Yeah, blue button. Put the pilgrim hat in, Randy. Put a pilgrim hat in the game. Yeah, we never figured out how to make it fun. We're gonna start in like 2 minutes, so it's like a last call away for people to come in.
You guys forgot to pick up pizza.
I like these Sloth names. Sir Sleeps a Lot, Slow Pace Killer,
Slow-Bo Baggins.
Hang Time. Very happy with this UI screen. It's a very peaceful opening.
Until everybody accepts.
Battlesloths.
Hello, everyone.
It's a prism sword. Disney owns that now. They're very litigious.
Hello, everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started. Welcome to Battlesloths 2025 Indie Dev Sloth Gaming Redefined. My name is Philip Johnson. I'm the creative director of Battlesloths and lead engineer. Done a lot of game design on it. Founder of Invisible Collective, and I used to work for Ubisoft Red Storm, and work for some other kind of tech companies in the area here in Austin, namely Max Play. Then we got right here.
I'm Randy Greenback, executive producer and designer on Battlesloths 2025. Been juggling this game with another game I've been working on called Friday the 13th, going back and forth between the two, having a lot of fun. This is the indie side of things, the super indie side of things, I should say. And yeah, but it's been a lot of fun working on it, and I guess we're gonna take it way back.
Yeah, so just like a quick overview of what we're going to do today. We're going to show you the original Game Jam build, which is what you're looking at right now. This is the one we worked on over 4 days, and then later on we're going to show what we did with the Humble Bundle release, and then the latest one that we just put out last month.
The Rooster Teeth build.
The Rooster Teeth build, yes. And then we're also going to do some QA at the very end, so stick around for that. So this game was originally conceived in a game jam. I guess at this point in my life, I had some health problems. It was it was pretty overweight. I had a lot of trouble sleeping, and it was kind of it was just a tough time for me. So when this game jam came up, I saw it as an opportunity to kind of get back in the swing of things. Also the months leading up to the game jam, I spent a lot of time focusing on my health, eating a lot of steamed vegetables, exercising, doing yoga, stuff like that. Just trying to get my health straightened out. And then this game jam popped up. I just kind of ran around, started grabbing artists that I knew that I worked with, and I said, "Hey, you guys want to do this game jam?" We didn't really have any ideas, but we assembled a team of 5 people, which included Sebastian Leonard, John Ulrich, writing code, Ryan Liebscher also, Jacob Huff, who did a little bit of music, and then Andy Foltz, who did kind of some fake marketing promotional stuff, which is really ended up being really awesome. So when we started the game jam, I was basically assembling these guys, and I basically asked them permission if I could be creative director, pretend, because up to that point, my history was being a UI engineer, and I wasn't really a game designer or director or anything like that, but I just wanted to basically have the authority to call the shots and just kind of keep the game jam moving along, that sort of thing. And so they all agreed to it. I had brought another idea, kind of like a passion project idea to the table, and it was about some rock and roll musician that fought aliens, and there wasn't a whole lot of energy around it. It was kind of like this thing where I was trying to bring a passion project in, and then people weren't super excited about it, and I could tell. But we did this yes and session where we just kind of went around a table, and I'm pretty sure it was Jacob who said, "Can we add pizza to the game?" And then we came around again, and he said, "Can we add sloths to the game?" And so I tried to make a game design doc about a rock and roll musician sloth that fought aliens and wrote a slice of pizza. But it was crazy. It was all sorts of madness. So I tossed out the rock and roll musician idea, and then the sloths and the pizza were kind of in the in my peripheral. So we're thinking well, what can we do in a game jam that would be easy? And so the obvious thing to do is to make a party game, because there's no online, there's no AI, and you really the players just make their own fun. And so I guess fresh in my mind was just doing Hotline Miami, playing that game, the party game Samurai Gun, which is super awesome. You can raise your hand if you know that one. Sweet. And then also I'm just a gigantic fan of Geometry Wars, so we took all those elements of making a twin stick shooter. I said, well, why isn't there a highly lethal twin stick shooter party game where it's just one hit kills and that's it? And they were like, okay, well, let's put sloths in, and then when they die, they drop pizza, and those are the points. And then the name Battlesloths popped into my head, and I kind of laughed a lot for a few minutes. And then I made a design doc, and I should have dug that up, because it's literally a page, and most of it's just pictures of sloths I found on Google. And that was the pitch that I had brought to the game jam team. I said we should try to make Battlesloths, and it was just gonna be a basic isometric twin stick shooter with machine guns, shotguns, kind of evoking kind of the old Quake style gameplay where you just pick up weapons and keep going. And I guess the new thing would have been the pizzas that get dropped on the ground, which I think I'm told that is a game mode that might exist in old Halo games. or currently in Black Ops 2, as kill confirmed. Anyway, we thought it was a new idea. People can play the Game Jam build if they want to continue hanging out up here. We're fine with people like continuing to play the game. We'll turn the sound down if it's too loud. So we did the Game Jam. We made like 11 weapons. We had like 3 levels, and one of them was a 2v2 level. We did a lot of great work on it, and then we had a pretty interesting thing happen during the jam where one of the programmers was like, "Hey, I'd like to put roller skates in the game." This is Brian Leibscher, and since it's not like we were paying anyone, I was like, "Yeah, sure, go ahead. Let's see where it goes." And we put roller skates in the game, and it was kind of weird. There was, we started playing with it. We're like, "Oh, it feels more like ice skates," and then we decided to try to make it like a skateboard. And I was like, "This isn't really a skateboard. It's more like a hoverboard." And all of us just exploded. all of us just like exploded and started freaking out. And
it is a Game Jam build built in 4 days.
It was pretty stable. What did you do? It was a stable game. So when we decided to switch the skateboard to a hoverboard, everyone was super excited. It's like, this is ridiculous. These sloths are running hoverboards now. It's already crazy enough that they're running around shooting each other with machine guns and stuff and dropping pizza. But the hoverboard gave a whole other element to it. It had a great gliding feel. And Sebastian got super excited and dumped a bunch of hoverboards into the game. And that's what you see now. I think the hoverboard art is still the same as what was in the Game Jam.
Yeah, but a lot of the core conceits of the game still remain in the game today. Like, you have your pizza goals in each of the 4 corners. Mm-hmm. You're collecting the pizza. They actually stack behind you and trail behind the sloths.
Yeah, a lot of that pizza following code is still in the game.
It's pretty amazing how much of the original game actually carries over the last year and a half to what we have today.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Like, we knew it was a fun game right away. And what was another thing that happened? Oh, the hats. When we got the sloths in, they were like these sloths are super cute, and we immediately wanted to dress them up. So basically we decided we were gonna. I woke up one morning at like 5 o'clock during the Game Jam, and I started making a bunch of programmer art for hats. And I came in one morning and surprised the team. I said, "We got hats in the game now." And Sebastian freaked out and made a bunch of cool hats. That turned out really well. So anyway, the Game Jam did really well. We had lots of positive responses, and we kind of like decided. I kind of kept the project alive for a few months afterwards. A lot of people just kind of went back to their day job, but I continued working on it. And then basically we started talking to Randy about this game, who was working. Well, why don't you take over?
Yeah. So Phil brought the game to me and was all excited and wanted me to try it. I had worked at Red Storm a couple years before with Phil and the rest of the team. So he brought it over. We played it at a game studio called Mighty Rabbit Studios, and we all just started hanging out and playing for like an hour and having a lot of fun and having a blast. And I was like, "Oh, there's definitely something here. There's something magical about the game that is already there." So I was excited to jump on board and get involved. And we wanted to finish the game. We wanted to actually release it.
Yeah, maybe we should move on to the Humble Bundle build. I guess I want to talk about that intro a little bit, but while you're firing it up. So the intro was like, we had this peaceful opening, and the code name for the Game Jam was Slow Life, and we had those, like, we made all these posters. It's like, meet the sloths, and it was like super cute sloths, and it was like hang time, Sir Sleep Sloth, like you wanted to hug him. And everyone was like, "What the hell are you guys doing?" We kind of shrouded it in a little bit of secrecy. And so when people were firing up the game, they were joining in, and it's kind of sloths hanging out on a peaceful hill. and then you press start, and then we just throw guns in our hands and have them shooting in the air like crazy, and then we flip the art to make it all like a hellscape and kick in the metal music, and then a Battlesloths logo pops up, and it freaking blew people's minds when we showed this game. So that was really well. That went really well. So this is the Humble Bundle version. This is the one we did, I guess about 8-9 months after the original Game Jam. Now, by this point, the only people that continued from the Game Jam was Sebastian Leonard, who was the artist on the team. And then we also, for this one, we had added Chris Cooper for game design and stuff like that. We had Chris Stoy for additional AI art. Cody Adams for tech art, Sebastian's brother Adrian Leonard, Porter McComas for sound design, and we also were able to secure Jason Graves to do some awesome music for us with the money we got from Humble Bundle. Well, Randy, why don't you talk about how that deal happened?
So I really believe in the game, so one of the things we wanted to do was try to get funding to actually complete it. And at the time, my friend Robert Bowling, who used to work on Call of Duty and some other games in the past, was actually starting his job at Humble Bundle as vice president. So I took the game to him, and we started talking, and he brought up the fact that Humble Bundle was starting a Humble Originals program, and that was basically supposed to be like a proving ground for small games that had unique ideas or just really fun elements to them. So we brought the latest build to it, and he played it, he enjoyed it, and he gave us some money to finish the game and actually release it on Humble Bundle. So that's where Battlesloths Classic was born.
It's actually a really great time to have Robert kind of come into our lives. I was unemployed at the time. I was kind of living in my friend's farmhouse, kind of figuring out what my next move was going to be. And when we send Robert a build, I sent him a broken build because I was trying to make the game online and add AI and all sorts of crazy stuff. And so it's super embarrassing, but Robert was like, "Hey, come on, send another build that works." And so I spent I fixed the bugs in like an hour or something, but it was kind of embarrassing. But he saw the promise in the game. He saw all the potential with what we could do if we were able to polish it. And the build that we sent Robert wasn't all that different from the Game Jam build you guys just saw. And so after we signed that deal, this is basically like a month or two after that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it really came together. We decided to do 3 biomes with 3 levels each. So we have the ice level, the desert level, and the castle level. Now if you notice here, there's no hazards like what we have now. But the art fidelity is pretty good. And then you'll notice that we don't have the kill cam because we thought it broke up the action a little bit. But then we also don't have the camera zooming because people thought that the zooming in and out was too much.
And the levels were a little too big. So that was one of the key pieces of feedback that we received from playing the game with everybody, was that the levels were too large and the action wasn't frenetic enough. It was more of a tactical game, but we wanted to amp it up. So when we shrunk the levels down and made everything same screen, we ended up with what we have here. But you'll notice like a lot of the things are still there. Like we have the pizza goals in the corner that are telling you your score information, and it's also the place where the sloths return their pizza stuff.
Yeah, we took the UI off the corners, off the screen, and put it on the pizza. And this forced us to simplify the game modes too. For a while, we had it so you can kind of like make your own game mode. You can say, oh, you have a stock lives, but you could also win by getting pizza goal. A target amount of slices, but with the UI limitations here, we're basically forced to just track one goal. And you'll listen now, you'll hear the nuke. The nuke was kind of conceived as a kind of a chaos feature, and we designed the nuke like pretty much a week after the Game Jam. And it was sort of inspired by that show Lost, if anyone's familiar with. Well, I don't want to spoil anything, but there's like
It's been on for a few years.
Okay, well at the end, no, I'm not going to talk about the very end. There's this part of the show where they have to punch in this number every day to keep something from happening. I don't know what it is. And so that was kind of like, well, let's make let's put a bomb in the center of the game, and let's put a timer on it, and it forces someone to go there and reset it. And if it goes off, it will cut your score in half. And that's basically. I guess someone decided to leave the match. Anyway, we also I think this build also has the dodge roll, right?
No, it does not. That was added later.
Oh, yeah, that was a big thing that we added.
But yeah, this kind of just shows how a game evolves. Like we didn't have any level selection in the original prototype, so it just kind of auto-selected a level whenever you at random whenever you started the game. Here we added the 2 levels per biome. So this right now they're playing on Castle. We actually also didn't have any lore behind the game at this point. We had no idea what the game was about, why the sloths were fighting, other than they like pizza.
And we kind of have a very loose lore. It's kind of like just fantasy talk for Randy and I and other people on the team. We talk about like, what's this world like? What could it be? And I feel like the nuke kind of set the tone for it being kind of like a post-apocalypse futuristic sort of thing. But you know, it's always been super cute. Sloths fighting for pizza, and I guess the fantasy is that like pizza could be like a dire resource in the future, like the only source of food or something that people are fighting over.
Yeah, we still haven't figured out who's making the pizza for the sloths.
But yeah, we had a great team. We did this really quick in like 2 months, and you know, we ended up throwing like a really cool pizza party in North Carolina at this place called the Baxter Arcade with the IGDA, and you know, we spent some of the Humble Bundle money throwing a pizza party for our friends. So this is the kind of game company we are, I guess. Should we go on to?
Yeah. So after the success that was the Humble Bundle version of Battlesloths, we decided we wanted to kind of retire it, and then also start building a new version, like a better version, one that could incorporate online play. Because right here, with the build you're looking at, was all local. It was all couch co-op or couch competitive.
Yeah.
So
I guess I should say when we had signed the Humble Bundle deal, around about that same exact, it must have been a day or two before, I actually signed a contract to be employed with Max Play here in Austin. So I moved from North Carolina to Austin. And, you know, I ended up driving down here and starting that job in January. And then we were basically working on the Humble Bundle version at night. And then around about March is when that came out. So when we showed it at Wagos Rancheros, I was just hauling my personal computer out. I got my little half PC and a monitor and a few controllers, and there's this indie game event here in Austin called Wagos Rancheros, which is once a month at the North Door. It's the first Thursday of every month, and what they do is that they showcase like a really cool indie games, and then they'll also they'll showcase some really cool indie games, and then they'll also let smaller developers show games like on the second floor. You'll be like able to bring stuff. So I had brought the rig out, and we set it up, and no one knew who we were. No one knew who I was. I might have made like a few friends there by that point, but I've only been in Austin for 2 or 3 months. But we got an immediately a pretty positive response. Like everyone was like, "Who are you? What is this game? Where the heck did you come from?" Because I just kind of came out of nowhere with this game that my team back in North Carolina had done, and we were doing an awesome work, and everyone was freaking out, having a great time. You know, my friend Courtney, who would end up helping us at RTX, she was like taking selfies with the game, and it was just like, man, we think we really have something here. But it was that same night that we had met Casey Donnellan from Rooster Teeth Games. It was that same night that we met Casey from Rooster Teeth Games, and he gave me their card. And I guess I have to confess a little bit that I wasn't terribly.
The fun is uncontainable.
It's too fun. It's too fun for a presentation. We met Casey from Rooster Teeth Games, who was the lead engineer on the Ruby game. And he's like, "Hey, I think your game is pretty fun. I think we'd like to talk to you guys so he gave me their card, and we were super burnt out after the Humble Bundle version, and so I didn't touch the card for like 2 months, and we were just kind of ready to take a break, and so we all kind of chilled out for a little bit. But when we finally came to, I contacted Casey. Him and I got like a burrito lunch, and they were talking about publishing indie games. They're saying, hey, why don't you guys try to come out to RTX in the summer, and we think you guys have a cool party game, and we think we'd like to be involved with you people. They love the hats, they like the game, and we also had commissioned a rap song. We should talk a little bit about the rap song. Actually, I forgot about that part because it's a super important part.
We ended up working with a good friend of ours, Michael Kill, who actually has a huge list of friends. So we recruited some rappers, Megaran. We got Megaran, Sulfur, Adam Warrock, a whole bunch of nerdcore rappers.
Jesse Dangerously.
Yeah, Jesse Dangerously as well.
Chesky.
And Chesky.
Yeah, it was so when we had done this rap song, we had gotten some money from the Humble Bundle version of the game, so we decided to commission a rap song, mostly because we thought it'd be fun, and we think if we just keep putting fun stuff around the game, then it'll just make it better. And then we were just so lucky to meet Michael Kill, who was like more than happy to take on this idea. So the process for making this rap song was that Michael and I, we had like a G-Doc where we just kind of pumped in a bunch of songs that we liked and kind of feelings that we wanted to evoke. And I had also wrote in the lyrics, if you're a three-toed sloth and you don't give a fuck, put your middle claws in the air. And it was kind of, we had wrote that hook, and I had no idea what Michael was going to do because he was just listening, and he wasn't really saying what they were going to do. But when I finally did the first version of the song, it was, when we were doing the first version of the song, I had heard, sorry, let me start over. Michael had done an early version of the music, and he said, I got the version with the chorus, and I'm going to do a freestyle. And I wanted to make sure it was a real freestyle, and so I asked if I could pick the topic, and he said, yeah, sure. So I looked at my desk, and I grabbed a box of Altoids, and I kind of shook it. It's like, I want you to rap about these Altoids right here. And so surely enough, he hates freestyling too. He doesn't like doing it. And so he did a freestyle about Altoids, and then he came to the chorus, where if you're a three-toed sloth and you don't give a fuck. And I was just like on the floor laughing. I couldn't believe he decided to use this hook. But it was like a day or two before our Humble Bundle launch that the rest of the song had come together. And we didn't really nanny the rappers. We just let them put in whatever they want. We're an indie team, so we don't really, we don't really have we don't really have any sort of we don't really care for swearing in the game or whatever, as long as it's inclusive and good and fun. So there was tons of swearing. Sloths are fighting with the cops, smoking weed in bed. It's just whatever the heck they wanted to rap about. And we got tons of great work out of them as a result. So anyway, the Rooster Teeth guys noticed that song too. They were jamming to that in the office apparently. Then we did RTX, which was super good.
So at the end of the day, one of the big lessons that we took away from it was just do whatever feels right for the game. Don't worry about positioning or marketing or deciding or holding anything back. Whatever the game wanted to become, we wanted to just roll with it. And it got weirder and weirder and weirder and weirder. But we were fine with it, and we ended up with the rap song. And the next thing you know, we're talking to Rooster Teeth about becoming their first game that they're going to be publishing. And that was kind of a moment of where it's just it's all just became so real. We're actually doing this little tiny game jam game that started out with just 5 people working on it in 4 days has now somehow become this big release that is going to get pushed by one of the biggest entertainment companies in the world.
So basically they invited us to RTX in 2016. They said, hey, why don't you guys set up in the indie aisle? And so we used that opportunity to be like, okay, well, let's just show these guys how good of a party game we've got. And so we dumped like, I don't know, like $500 into our booth. We got some banners and a TV, and we brought some Sloth dolls. And also, if Mr. Indy Newman could stand up, this guy here, he volunteered to help at our booth. He's also done volunteer QA work for us, and he's been super, super awesome. Also, our friend Courtney, who isn't here, but I'm sure she'll watch this stream. She also helped at the booth and was super amazing at kind of driving everything. And then it was just Randy, Rich, and myself. So we had a really great response at RTX, and I think it was our first convention actually. So we had tons of good traffic coming in, tons of like people playing the game. People were like, when is it for sale? And we were on Humble Bundle, so we weren't really a game for sale. You had to get the March Humble Bundle to get in. And so it was like a week or so after that we got an email from Rooster Teeth saying like, yeah, we want to like publish this game properly. So that's kind of when that started happening.
Yeah, and then once that happened, now everything got so real that we had to start thinking about how we're going to market the game and how Rooster Teeth was going to fit in with our plan. Like our plan, we didn't have a lot of huge plans. We just knew we wanted to make a game that had online play and take it to the next level. And we just kept working, and magically enough, like Rooster Teeth they liked the game so much that they didn't want to constrain us or hold us back. And they said, no, we're not going to tell you what to do. We're not going to tell you what to add. You tell us what you want to do, and we're going to help find a way to kind of get the game out, get the word out, and promote it. And we were just so excited because usually that's not the case with publishers. Like if you sign on with a publisher and you have your game and you love it, and you next thing you know, you sign the deal, and they start asking slowly but surely, oh, can you change this thing? Can you change that thing? Next thing you know, the sloths aren't there, and it's some gritty guy on the face of the cover.
Space Marines.
Space Marines. Going,
yeah, I would say, but it wasn't like they would give constructive criticism, and it usually would just be something like, oh yeah, we agree. Like there was never anything that we got muscled into. So it really came to trying to make the game bigger, better, more awesome,
and
online. So like that was the major goal, is that we were going to make it online. But we also wanted to make the levels more interesting, because as you noticed in the Humble Bundle version, there's no hazards. And virtually all the levels are exactly the same. I think maybe in the one we brought to RTX, we had the blizzards like blowing people around. But every single level has like a unique hook now, and some of them are like hazards that will kill you. Some of them are like in the rad world, we got these light treks that will come through, and if you walk through their laser, they'll get killed. And it's extremely difficult level, and it's really made easier by dodge rolling. Because I guess dodge rolling was kind of like more or less inspired by Dark Souls, where you get like some like invincibility frames while you're rolling, and then you can go through enemy fire, and then also go through most hazards.
Yeah. So let's just fire up the new build. I guess I'll preface this with the opening intro is actually done by Rooster Teeth Animation. So the day when they came back to us and said, hey, we want to do an animated cartoon intro for your game, and we're going to use that to kind of do a launch announcement when we're getting ready to launch the game, we just kind of flipped out, because the fact that this little tiny game has a cartoon, not an actual cartoon show, but a cartoon, and people were taking, what was it, like almost a month of time to kind of realize the characters, to find a new visual style. Like it seemed like they were building a whole show.
Yeah, and they kind of they let Randy and I write the storyboard, or like give the pitch. They did the storyboard, but Randy and I we kind of wrote basically just like what we think would be a fun intro video, and that's why we have the Hell Harpies and the Eiffel Tower like being destroyed and all sorts of crazy stuff. Well, let's just fire it up, and we'll let you guys watch. We'll let you guys be the judge. We'll also be looking for 4 more players if we got some new people that want to come up. song "Protect Your Neck" from Michael Kill, Dual Core, Sulfur.
Hear the sound and you're surrounded by 1,000 laser guns and swords. 100 more of us with nunchucks and hoverboards are coming forward, fighting off abundant hordes that try to cross and cost their lives. Cause I'm the final boss, and I'm the there's a war going on outside. No Sloth is safe.
Pepperoni, the cheese, the sausage, and the onions.
There's a war going on outside. No Sloth is safe.
I need the pepperoni, the cheese, the sausage, and the onions.
There's a war going on outside. No Sloth is safe from.
Protect your neck, cause the battle's lost.
There's a war going on outside. No Sloth is safe from.
Protect your neck, cause the battle's lost.
Yeah, the Rooster Teeth 2D animation team is extremely talented, and it was just turned out so awesome, and we're very, very happy and humbled that they came in and did such great work.
And then a pole dancing sloth.
And then a pole dancing sloth, which is, I think, is the same loading screen we had in the Humble Bundle. But
Yeah, go ahead and grab controllers.
also the rap song, which I'm hoping we get the full version of that song out at some point. Protect Your Neck with Michael Kill, Tribe 1, N80, /Clipboard, and Sulfur ended up also really, really good. So here's the latest version of the game. We have
Long way. One thing to point out, I want to point out is even in the game jam build, we had hats, and then we added another 100 hats to the Humble Bundle build. But this one right here, what we have currently is well over 1,000 different hats, and we get weird.
it gets super weird. So we like a lot of things you'll notice here is that we completely revamped the UI. UI is just an everlasting struggle. Are there any game developers that do UI in this room? Okay, isn't it just never ending? There's always something to fix, but when it comes to UI design, it's the customer's always right. And kind of the policy I take into design, and a lot of us do, is that we kind of watch the player's face and see if they're having a good time. Like, we don't really have a whole lot of analytics and stuff that we like. We're not really looking at graphs. We kind of just follow our heart most of the time, and make sure that it feels good, and then the players are laughing and smiling, having a good time. If you kind of keep like a positive energy into the game, then we think that love gets returned to the project. So
we're here at RTX a year later after signing the deal, and we're going to be doing a big tournament on the main stage today for Battlesloths. Everybody's going to be competing for some high-end NVIDIA GeForce GTX cards, like I think they're 1060s.
yeah, and you also, the tournament's already done. The people that are going to be able to go up, but those people will get a chance to play with some awesome Rooster's Teeth stars too. Also.
Yeah, we got some folks from Funhouse.
We got Lawrence from Funhouse, cool guy. Chad James, Adam Ellis, big friendly giant. We got Skull from JT Machinima.
Yep.
He's in the middle of doing a panel right now, actually.
And that's all taking place today at 12:30. So if you want to check out some more high-end competitive, like esports style Battlesloths on the main stage, just come by at 12:30.
We might have some tournament players here, actually. Did anyone play in the tournaments yesterday?
Anybody play it yet?
I think some people have played this game. So you notice that in the final version here, we have online. We got 1,000 hats. The hazards were a big deal. We also added the dodge roll, and we added some cool new weapons. I think like the newest weapons probably the BFSG, which is kind of like a take on the famous weapon from Doom, the BFG 2000, 9000, whatever it was. But it's a big giant area denial weapon. Shoots a big slow-moving mass that arcs lightning, and it's just freaking awesome. That's kind of mostly the design philosophy around this game, is that we just try to make fun ideas that fill roles that in the game that need to be filled. Everything's a one-hit kill, so basically the weapons are designed around the idea that it's how fast they move, their rate of fire, and how much ground they cover. So just don't get touched. And because it's one-hit kills, it enforces, using cover, dodge rolling, and stuff like that. Like, you can't get hit. So it kind of makes it more tense, but also a bit more difficult for new players.
And then one of the other things we added was we're working with Rooster Teeth. We have all these awesome personalities in the Let's Play department and tons of inside jokes and stuff that they talk about on all the different shows. So we started figuring out how we can incorporate them into hats. And so we got we got Dude Soup, we got Pizzas on the Way, got a whole bunch of weird hat concepts thrown at us from the various Let's Play teams. And we had to figure out how to take these like comedy concepts and turn them into like hats that you could actually put on top of a sloth. So that was a fun thing.
We should talk about. Why don't you talk about the dev stream?
And yeah, that's another thing that's kind of been propelling the fun for the development side. So all of our developers, we usually meet up in North Carolina, and we do a Twitch stream every Wednesday, and we're still doing this to this day, and we'll probably do it for months and months to come. But basically, we're going to keep working on the game. We're going to keep doing more hats, and on the hat stream that we do on Twitch, it's at twitch.tv/RandyGBK. We make hats and take requests. So a lot of the weirdest hats, the most bizarre hats that people have come up with came from the stream. For instance, we had somebody in the Twitch chat come in and suggest the Titanic, the movie, in a hat.
There was also someone who requested a butt with toast coming out with butter on the toast. And we keep begging Adrian to animate it so it kind of like goes, but he refuses to do it because I think he hates his hat.
But yeah, so the most absurd stuff came out of that stream, and if anybody is interested in the game, if anybody wants to pick it up and start playing it, it's $9.99 right now on Steam. We're running a sale for RTX, and that'll run for another week post RTX. But yeah, if you wanted to come in, buy the game, play it, get kind of used to it, familiarize yourself with it, come to the Twitch stream where we're doing hats, or follow us on Twitter. And you can request your own hats, and we'll put them in the game, and you can ultimately start playing with your own ideas. Yeah,
mostly like but yeah, come to the Twitch stream and request a hat, and usually 100% of the time we'll put it in, especially if it's a new person that's never been in there before.
But there's very few rules. Like, don't ask for genitalia hats. I think beyond that, anything goes.
Yeah, I think that was the most major rule.
But yeah, as you can see, like, they're playing right now on what we call Cake World, with rolling jawbreakers. So, like, any idea went. Basically, whenever we were pitching ideas, it would be like, how do we make it weirder? How do we make it stranger? How do we make it more frivolous and fun? And basically, all of the ideas kind of had to meet some certain level of odd to even make it into the game.
Yeah, it's kind of funny about this level too, because it's so like cute. But for months and months, this is easily the hardest level in the entire game, because the jawbreakers would destroy your weapons and it would destroy your slices. But now it will just destroy the slices if they're in the little like dark pink trough in the middle. And then also you could shoot them and slow them down. That really helped a lot.
Yeah, as we led up to release, we just play tested the game. We had a ton of Guardians volunteer to assist us to help test the game and refine it, and they did an amazing job. Like we got some of the best bugs. They found almost everything that we needed to have found, and helped us like launch a really clean game, which usually in the indie side of things, in the indie world, doesn't happen. Like, you don't have that kind of support. But that's one of the big benefits that we saw when signing with Rooster Teeth was they have such an awesome community that is just like fun and loving. Like, we saw that at last year's RTX, and that was one of the things that kind of led us to actually put pen to paper and sign the deal, was that we would have access to all these awesome people who get behind something and really, really show it love.
Yeah, I mean, this is really like it's just a story about, a team that kind of came together with a vision, and we just worked really hard on it for over a year. A lot of us, we didn't have like an office or anything. We were just kind of working on this, in our houses, at our desk, at home.
And everybody on the team,
pants are optional,
had a AAA game dev job in the industry. Like, I was working on the Friday the 13th game. Some of the other guys were working on
Star Trek VR.
And what else? Far Cry at some point.
I had worked on Far Cry, but we weren't working on it then.
But yeah, everybody would basically make games all day long at their day job, and then come home at night and we'd work on this.
All day, all night. Hey, should we move the QA?
Yeah.
So we got about 20 minutes. We can start doing some QA. I think
Some questions and answers.
Sophie. Oh, who's the mic? Okay, great. Does anyone have any questions? Hello, John.
Two quick ones. Number one, just so I know the timeline, when was the first game jam? What was the date?
That would have been 2015, probably like July, June.
So like from start to finish, you've been working on this for a little less than 3 years?
About
Man,
2 years.
That's a
About
long
2
time,
years.
yeah.
Okay. So the other thing I've been fascinated by, and I never thought to ask you, is how did the face of the Sloths come out? It kind of looks like a Japanese.
You know,
action.
Sebastian and Adrian, they're way into anime, or anime. Does anyone want to correct me? Anyway, who wants to fight?
Thanks.
And when we did when Sebastian had designed the original Sloths, I kind of thought they had like a Miyazaki look. I thought they were super cute. I loved how it turned out. But it's also the limitations of pixel art kind of informed those decisions too. But yeah, they got. You just want to dress them up, make plushies, Rooster Teeth. How about that? They do not, but I think they eat pizza sometimes, right? Do we not have an animation of a sloth eating a pizza in the game anywhere?
Yeah, that's a huge oversight.
This QA, this question and answer is over.
Oh no! What have we done?
We have one. Well, we have sloths vomiting pizza. Do we have any more questions? We'll get to you, sir.
You mentioned having the Rooster Teeth community available to you for like testing your game, and you also had your friends play the game so that you could get their feedback and sort of incorporate those into changes. What would you suggest for somebody who doesn't have like the Rooster Teeth community to sort of test your game in terms of like getting it tested well?
Well, we're extremely fortunate to have had the Guardians jump on our game and help us out, and also good friends like Andy right here, also help out. But we do testing ourselves.
Yeah, that's where it starts. Like
Yeah.
always, anytime you make a change in your game, anytime before you check in any code, any new art, anything, you put in a new level, run it, test it yourself. That's going to catch 90% of the bugs right there. But it's not going to catch all the weird issues that are harder to find, that take a lot of heavy beating on the game to kind of bring to light. So the best thing to do, the best thing I could recommend is show the game often to your friends and family. Like start there. Obviously, they should be interested in what you're building and doing, and they're probably going to be excited to see and help you. So if you start there, you can kind of web out. But you can even, like what we did was throw little pizza parties. So we kind of themed it around the game, and I would pay for pizza. We'd have the team and some other people come play the game, and everybody would hang out and just have fun. We treated it like a get-together where we're just all playing the game and talking and catching up with each other week to week.
Yeah.
So that's another thing you can do is kind of turn it into a fun event that and make it more than just the game. Make it just something to socialize and catch up. And food and drinks definitely help.
It's like everyone's having a pizza party, but I would just be there for like a pad of paper, sweating and being like nervous, like bugs. Oh God, bugs. But also, depending on how supportive your local indie community is, there are there are like communities that will like test each other's stuff, and I think. Man, I wish Tyler Coleman was here because I knew that he would know about this stuff.
Well, you can totally find people online. Once you start talking about your game and tweeting about it, and you get a few people interested, the early people who like what you're building, often they're going to be your vocal, big proponents that are talking about your game when it launches, and they want to go for the ride. They want to be involved. So you can send them a build over the internet. I mean, the magic of the internet, you just send a file, package it up in a zip, and next thing you know, they're playing the game and sending you bugs too. So that's another good option, is to just harness that, be open and honest, and show your game early and often, because you need to these days. There's so many games coming out. Get on social media and start promoting it, and eventually you're going to build your own network and your own community around it.
Yeah, and I understand that there's like some indie communities that have like a sort of a you watch my back, I watch yours sort of testing system where you just kind of put your stuff up and they'll test your stuff, and I think that gets you like indie points or something. So we got the next question. Let's go with this guy over here.
Oh no, she had her
Okay.
arm up first.
This woman over here.
Right over here.
Sorry, you're behind the podium for me.
Okay, hi. If you could go back in time and talk to yourself back when you were first starting this game, what would you say, given what you know now?
For me, it would have been to prioritize my health, because I like lost a lot of weight and stuff, just trying to get my health straightened out. But sleep was an issue, and I really should have just been making sure that I was getting out and running and doing my yoga and all that stuff, and it would have made the code better. It would have made the game go a lot smoother. It would have I would have been in a better mood. Prioritizing that would have made things go a lot better and a lot smoother. So that probably would have been the first thing.
For me, that's a really good question, by the way. For me, though, I probably would. We didn't have a tutorial for the game, or any kind of challenge mode, or anything single player for a very long time. In fact, we just recently added it like 2 weeks ago. I would have prioritized getting something in to kind of train the player and teach them how to play the game earlier than we did. We just recently added it. We added 30 challenge missions where you learn about each weapon and you have to complete the bot challenges against the AI. Doing that earlier would have definitely helped the game and helped people get it and get competitive quicker, because that's one of the things that the game's so fast-paced and action-packed that some people are afraid to actually play it. They're afraid that they're going to embarrass themselves or not do as well. So having that single-player element earlier would have probably helped prevent some of the people who didn't want to give it a try from not giving it a try.
Yeah, we kept making the game more hardcore too. So like the hazards were getting crazy, and the dodge roll stuff was like making it really adding a whole other level of like gameplay strategy. So yeah, that would have helped. I agree.
Thank you.
Who's next? Oh, wow, we got so many questions. It's amazing. I'll just let you pick.
Back on the testing, with a game of this scale, what kind of testing do you tend to do more often? Like, do you tend to have more issues with bugs, or do you tend to test for ways to improve the game or make it slightly different?
Like feedback is always good. Like just things to tweak, things to improve. The UI has needed constant love and care, and it's evolved to the point where it's mostly usable. But you're doing so many things on the screen that it's still kind of confusing at times. So that got a lot of UI feedback and stuff like that was important. But I would say the biggest thing that we needed testing for was online. Especially since we were a split team, it kind of makes it a little more fun because we can get together, throw up a Discord server, and all get together, talk about it. Even when we're like, I'm in North Carolina, the other guys are. So we have people all over. We have somebody in California. We have somebody in Seattle,
Sweden,
and we have Phil out here in Austin. So like being able to go online and test that way. Online needed a lot of testing anyway, so it kind of worked to keep the team together and feel like we're all working as one.
Let's keep going. Next question. So we got two on the right and one on the left.
Hi. So when you guys got stuck on something, what was like the biggest thing that like kept you going and not like wanting to just like throw it at the wall and give up?
Contractual obligations. So we couldn't just stop.
Well, I mean like before that.
You know what? I guess it would have been kind of on me because for months I was the only person working on the game. It's really just that we believed it was really fun, and that it would have found its audience if we put it out, and it was worth finishing. And for me, it was kind of like my first game. Like I had worked on AAA stuff, but I'd work on like a little tiny part of it. This is the first game I got to work on from the ground up. And even on the projects I worked on at Ubisoft, we would arrive like a year or two before ship, and not really be involved with the core pitch of the game or whatever. So it was just extremely fulfilling to continue working on it. And every time we showed the game, we got more love and awesome responses from the crowd. So we knew that this game would find its audience. We just need to keep getting it out there.
Yeah, for me, it was the hat streams, the Twitch hat streams, and also showing the game around and seeing people's faces light up and seeing them like they were doing here in the front row, just uncontrollably yelling out and laughing and just having genuine fun playing the game. So it's very rare. Also, at the end of a game cycle, once you've been working on it for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, whatever, it's very rare that you enjoy playing the game yourself as well. So that was another thing. I still just enjoyed playing the game with people, and I still have fun. I'll go online and play with people out in the public. I'll fire up the game with friends and just have fun, and it's still fun. And that's so rare. But that's when you know you're working on something that's going to be great, is that you're still having fun with it, even when you hate working on it and you just want to sleep.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree that it also kind of blows my mind that I still enjoy playing this game because, I wake up, I work on a game all day, and then it'd be like, oh man, it's just so much work. It takes so much out of you. But when we play with people, we're like, still good, still a fun game.
And we're adding more and more stuff to it. Like today, we're premiering a new level called the Mayan Mutant Sewers.
Yes.
And so that we're gonna play that on the main stage as well. And then tomorrow, it'll be added to the game on Steam.
Yes, it's gonna be super sweet.
So every once in a while, we get to work on a new piece of content and try a new idea or a new level layout and see how that changes stuff up. And funnily enough, it just keeps working.
Let's go to the next question. I think we had one over here and then one on the left.
So I was curious what your guys' favorite hats were, and I was wondering if you take any inspiration at all from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
It's kind of funny because it was like a month or two after we did the game jam. Someone's like, oh, it's like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And I was like, well, we're nothing like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. First off, sloths are slow and turtles are fuck. And it was kind of like, you're going to realize, like, man, we really are leaning on Ninja Turtles a little bit. So it was kind of like it was kind of like a sleeper Ninja Turtles fandom just kind of creeping up, I guess. Because I was definitely a big fan of that stuff when I was a kid. So as for favorite hats, do you have any queued up? Because let me think.
Right now, I don't have them all unlocked, but I think my favorite hat has to be the Titanic, the whole movie in a hat. So it's literally half the Titanic sitting on top of a sloth's head. There's smoke coming out the steam, like the big portholes at the top of the boat. Jack and the other, what's the feet? Rose. Jack and Rose are on the bow, and you could see in pixels, it's like 7 pixels, but Jack's arms are outstretched, and out of the back is spilling water and also human bodies. And it's animated, so it's the whole story, their love and the horrible tragedy all in one single hat.
I thought this one was unlocked by default, but I got a few that I really love. One, I have my kitty cat Mishka. She has a hat I requested to have her put in, so you can have my cat sitting on your head. I love birthday rematch hat Sedesto. This is for you, because we had this guy in our Twitch chat who would come in and say birthday rematch hat, and it would fill up this big block. And then Adrian's like, "Fine, I'll do it. I'll finally do it." And he did it. And it was this like magic birthday hat with a bunch of like crackling energy around it. It's just so awesome looking. The Dingo hat, Dingo Ate My Baby hat.
I think we have that unlocked.
That would be international.
Okay. So that
birthday.
that was a request from
The Rooster
Funhouse-
Teeth guys,
the
right?
Funhouse team, I think.
Yeah, but I guess that we have a big
Cow chop.
Australian constituency. And I hope they don't have any hard feelings about the hell level taking place in Australia. But all the Australians I've met are like, that's okay, mate. Let's go with the question over here, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about. We're going to talk about sloffies. Let's take a sloffy.
Okay, with all the references, how do you avoid copyright infringement and getting sued?
We have lawyers. When we're doing these hats and like the lightsaber, which is a prism sword, like we find creative ways around like naming them or just kind of slightly retheming something or recoloring it. We try to adhere to parity. So also we're working at 32 by 32 pixels for the hats. So you can get away with a lot at that resolution. You can imply a lot, but it's not a direct copy. So we kind of skirt the boundaries of legality and pray that our lawyers can protect us.
Thank you. These are awesome questions, and so we're pretty much done. But I would like for you guys to stick around. But we're gonna take something called a sloffy. It's a selfie you take while pretending to be a sloth. Now I'm gonna explain the origins of this. It was before RTX. I went on vacation.
1 second. That's a crawdad smoking a cigar.
That's nice, Randy.
Somebody requested that. Actually, Michael Hadwin, the guy who basically runs Rooster Teeth Games, had that request. That's how weird it gets. And it could definitely be a lobster mobster.
So it was like I think. Let's see. I think it was after RTX, but I went on vacation with my family, and I was just kind of in my parents' living room, and I'm a big fan of that rock group Baby Metal, and they have this super cute kitsune hands with the fox like metal hand variation, and I was just kind of looking at my hand, being like, I need something like that for Battlesloths, and then I kind of just like, oh, okay, so we had the 3 claws, and then that kind of became I don't know what it was. I saw some pictures of people with a selfie stick. And I was thinking like, well, those look like a lot of fun to have at conventions. And so I bought one for RTX. And then I was telling Randy, he's like, we're going to take sloffies. And so everybody who came through, we made them take sloffies with us. And we can make them put their claws up and take pictures like that. So if you would like to stick around and take a sloffy with us.
Please do.
If Sophia or one of the Guardians could turn the lights up, I'll get my sloppy stick out. And just to kind of congregate around over this somewhere. All right, thank you guys. Thank you, everyone.